could still form in the southeast.
There's going to be a lot of rain, whether it develops or not.
Monsoon winds caused havoc across Las Vegas.
In the 40 years that I've lived here, this has never happened.
While California's largest wildfire of the year explodes in size overnight, we'll also explain the science behind all the colors you'll see in fireworks shows.
But there's a whole lot of chemistry and science.
Show you a very rare sight in Oklahoma City skies.
These only last for about a millisecond or so.
And hear from the couple whose engagement photo went viral.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Mark Pena. The long 4th of July holiday is nearly here, and that means millions of people are on the move, ready to celebrate the nation's 249th birthday. The forecast will be critical for fireworks displays tomorrow night, as well as for everyone heading to a beach, a park, or city. And the good news is that for most of you, the weather should cooperate. Meteorologist Jordan Evans walks us through the forecast for each part of the country.
The 4th of July forecast looking fantastic in a lot of spots around the country, but we'll have to deal with some rain and thunderstorms for certain areas too. The southeast around Florida, a wet tropical-like system will bring tons of rain to parts of the Sunshine State and the southeast coast, and a stalled boundary across the plains from North Dakota south. At least some isolated thunderstorms are expected during the afternoon. Not a complete washout, that's the good news. Plenty of sunshine and drier air for the mid-Atlantic and the northeast and the southwest. Lots of sun as well. Talking temperatures for the northeast will be in the upper 80s to low 90s. A little warm there in Chicago, St. Louis, but the northeast, it is picture perfect with upper 80s to low 80s around Boston and upper 70s there for Portland. Farther to the south, we'll have 94 to 95 around Nashville to Atlanta. Tampa, Orlando staying in the 80s because of that rain throughout the day, and then Texas anywhere from 88 to 93 degrees. For the southwest will be the triple digits from Vegas to Phoenix, St. George, Utah, 80s for San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco there. The cool spot, 64 degrees. The northwest also looking fantastic with partly cloudy skies, 74 in Seattle, 78 in Portland, and some 80s and 70s across Montana to Wyoming. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans.
But before we get to the holiday, there is a severe threat for today. The Storm Prediction Center put much of the Northeast and New England from Philadelphia to Maine under a level 2 risk for storms today. These scattered severe thunderstorms could produce damaging winds and large hail up to 2 inches in diameter. Tracking the tropics this morning, the National Hurricane Center is still monitoring what's now Tropical Storm Flossie. Late Tuesday night, it strengthened into a major Category 3 storm, but since then it's rapidly weakened as it moved over cooler waters. It will likely become a post-tropical remnant low later today. Over in the Atlantic, a new storm could form in the next week. Meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg has the details.
Here's the setup. A front is expected to stall in this area with a low pressure area possibly developing. There's still a 40% chance it requires subtropical or tropical characteristics. The most we would be expecting is a depression. There's going to be a lot of rain, whether it develops or not. With that stall front and deep moisture continuing to surge in and an unstable atmosphere, there could be several inches of rain. Models continue to differ a little bit. The European model showing the heaviest rain over South Florida with 2 to 4 inches between now and the end of the weekend, whereas the GFS model showing the heaviest rains off the central Florida coast with anywhere from 3 to 5 inches.
Last year on this day, we were tracking Hurricane Beryl as it moved across the Caribbean. This video comes from a hurricane hunter as it flew into the then Category 5 storm. Beryl was the earliest forming Category 5 on record in the Atlantic. This storm was responsible for 44 deaths in the U.S. as well as more than $7 billion in damage. Meteorologist Evan Chikvara looks back at the development of this monster hurricane.
It was a Category 3 by the end of the day, June 30th and July 2nd. After undergoing an eyewall replacement on the 1st, it became a major Category 5 with a measured sea level pressure between 932 and 935 at its peak and wind gusts of 201 miles an hour. From there, on July 3rd, it approached Jamaica, weakening some, but a Category 4 is nothing to shy away from. It continued the weakening trend, headed towards the Yucatan Peninsula on July 5th. And fortunately, once it moved into the Gulf, weakening further, it was a Category 1 upon landfall, but far cry from what it once was with a Category 5, eventually dissipating with a lot of rain brought to the Ark-La-Tex region. People forget there was an EF2 tornado in Jasper, Texas, and lots of rain for parts of Arkansas. So tropical systems, they have their impacts even once they move on shore.
Monsoon season is underway in southern Nevada. That means strong winds and at times heavy rains. This week it was those powerful winds blowing through Las Vegas. We showed you this video yesterday, the winds whipping up so much dust you could barely see the tarmac at the city's Harry Reid Airport. Gusts up to 70 miles per hour also toppled trees and power lines across the region. Angie Nomura has more on the cleanup efforts from one of the harder hit areas.
An unusual sight here along Tropicana Boulevard between Eastern and Pecos.
In the 40 years that I've lived here, this has never happened.
As Mother Nature had her way, strong winds Tuesday afternoon toppling trees, snapping light and traffic poles, also causing power outages for hundreds in the area. Further down, cleanup efforts were on the agenda for county public works crews, which is good news for Kim, the neighbor.
It does look like a lot of it's been cleaned up, which is good, but it's still going to take days for something to open up.
One thing's for certain, it was an unforgettable storm.
I get alert from my boss at 5 o'clock, and she's sending me pictures of this, and I'm like, holy shoot.
A wildfire that only started yesterday afternoon is now the largest in California this year. The Madre Fire is burning in a remote area between the Central Coast and Central Valley. It's already spread to more than 35,000 acres. This morning, there are evacuation orders and road closures as smoke is spreading over nearby Santa Barbara and Ventura counties. Meantime, the Forsyth Fire burning in southwestern Utah is now 42% contained. Since lightning sparked it, the fire last month, more than 13,000 acres have burned. This week, the area reopened to the public for the first time in 2 weeks. As Liv Keller reports, some residents had no home to return to and are wondering if they'll even rebuild or not.
Probably next to me having cancer, my house burning down was probably the second worst thing that I've ever experienced.
Tondi Hobaika bought her home in Pine Valley 5 years ago, a quiet escape from Las Vegas, a future retirement plan. Now that home is gone, one of 14 lost to the Forsyth Fire.
And I still haven't processed it.
Since the fire, she's been living in limbo, grieving, assessing damage, and trying to decide what comes next.
My husband and I will wake up one day and we said, okay, we're rebuilding. And then we'll wake up the next day, we said, no, we're not rebuilding.
While she weighs her options, a friend's vacation rental has become a respite from the stress.
And our little settlers cottage, it was wide open, and a friend that lost her home, it was there for her too.
Mitzi Sullivan owns several short-term rentals in Pine Valley. When the fire hit, bookings disappeared.
And it was just like, gut punch.
But those vacancies made space for survivors like Tondi to stay close to home.
It's just people like Mitzi and the other residents that live here that will do anything for you.
Tondi says she's leaning towards rebuilding, even if it takes decades to feel like home again.
A storm-chasing couple went viral for this photo. Many people thought it was generated by AI, but it is real and is spectacular. It started as a typical chase in South Dakota. Bryce Shelton was waiting for the perfect moment to propose to his girlfriend. After several hours, he saw a tornado start to develop. It turned into a massive EF3 storm. He got down on one knee while a friend snapped the now viral photo.
I've actually been planning this for 18 weeks. So I had to get the ring from here in Pennsylvania to the Dakotas with the help of her mom and without her knowing. So we had to go to Fargo to pick up my contacts, which was the ring. And I had it for 2 or 3 weeks before this and passed up a couple opportunities because South Dakota is our favorite state. And we wanted to see the perfect tornado.
He says he was just hoping for a photo to remember the moments, never expecting it to go viral. Now they're continuing to chase storms across the U.S., this time as an engaged couple. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, the science behind fireworks shows. What's needed to make them appear red, white, and blue, not to mention yellow and green. And an extremely rare sight was caught on camera in the skies over Oklahoma City this week. Details on the red Sprite when we return.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a round of thunderstorms moving into the Northeast today, mostly during the afternoon and evening. In the areas in green, we have a risk for isolated severe storms. Areas in yellow, we have a risk for scattered severe storms. Damaging wind and hail will be the primary threats. Here's how it goes down. I think the morning looks okay. It's warm and muggy. Showers and thunderstorms fire up during the afternoon. That's about 1 o'clock or so, and extend into the evening hours. We'll see a lot of sun on Independence Day with low humidity.
I'm meteorologist Justin Chambers taking a look at your forecast across the mid-Atlantic. We'll see dry conditions Thursday morning, and then as we head toward the afternoon, definitely heating up a little bit with temperatures back into the lower 90s. A couple of pop-up clouds, but most of the action is going to be up in Scranton and down toward Richmond, and then staying dry through Friday, even a little bit cooler by the time we head into your Friday afternoon. So highs on Thursday mainly into the 90s, and then Thursday night into Friday morning, those temperatures drop to the 70s with slightly cooler temperatures Friday afternoon.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Readers. A look at your southeast forecast highs. We're seeing 91 in Nashville, 90 in Birmingham and Tupelo, 94 in Mobile, 87 in Charleston, Tampa about 84 degrees. We are seeing a mixture of sun and clouds across the southeast, looking around Tennessee as well as over towards Birmingham. We'll see plenty of sunshine through Atlanta, just a few coastal showers along the I-95 corridor. But as you get into Florida, we have that subtropical tropical system that's going to be wrapping in showers and thunderstorms for the next several days.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
1, 2, 3, 4 little bears and Mama Bear seen playing around on a North Carolina golf course. An eagle snags a fish on a Montana lake. And snapshots of Crater Lake in Oregon and its renowned blue waters. Crater Lake is the deepest lake in the United States, more than 1,900 feet deep, with Lake Tahoe the second deepest.
As we prepare to celebrate the upcoming holiday, we have some Founding Fathers weather history. Meteorologist Peter Hall tells us more.
Hey there, I'm Weather Authority meteorologist Peter Hall. Independence Day is right around the corner. And did you know one of our Founding Fathers was a big-time weather enthusiast? And no, I'm not talking about Benjamin Franklin, who was sort of as well. You remember the story about him flying a kite with a key on it into an electrical storm, a thunderstorm, because he thought lightning was electricity, and he was right. I'm actually referring to Thomas Jefferson, who was one of the first weather observers in this country. In fact, he was taking observations even before the 4th of July in 1776. You're taking a look at his observations in Philadelphia during the first part of July, and I'll actually zoom in to the 4th of July so you can actually see what he wrote down there. And at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, wouldn't you know it, it was 76 degrees. So as you see here, he at least took 2, sometimes 3 or 4 observations of temperatures each and every day. Plus, he at times took some measurements of the barometric pressure as well. And here's just a chart of both the maximum and minimum temperatures he took, because he always thought and knew that typically, not every single time, but typically the low temperature was early in the morning and the high temperature was early to mid-afternoon. And he wouldn't just do this in one spot with Philadelphia there. He also did this in Paris. He did it in Monticello, in Charlottesville, Virginia, as well as Washington, D.C. And you notice this chart here goes all the way to 1816, basically for nearly 40 years. Almost every single day, he took these weather observations and even did it a little bit more inconsistently after that. Pretty interesting stuff as we celebrate the 4th of July.
And when you watch your local fireworks show tomorrow night, you will likely appreciate the burst and illuminations. But you probably won't give too much thought to the science behind all those beautiful colors, but we do. Meteorologist John Gum has a look at the science behind these fireworks.
For instance, when we're talking about the color red in those fireworks displays, well, it's strontium, the element that they add to those shells to get those brilliant red colors. What if you wanted yellow in your fireworks displays? Well, that element is sodium that you add to get those yellow colors. White, however, is produced by adding magnesium to those shells. Now, let's say you want some orange color in your fireworks displays. You're going to add calcium to those fireworks to get that brilliant orange color. What about blue, my favorite color? Well, to get the blue colors, it is copper that they add to those fireworks shells. To get green, it's actually the element barium that they put in there to get those wonderful green colors. And for silver, we're talking magnesium, aluminum, or titanium to get that awesome silver color that you might see. What about violet? Well, to get the violet colors, it's copper and strontium added together to get the beautiful violet colors. So yes, these fireworks are awesome. They're really cool to see, but there's a whole lot of chemistry and science going into making these fireworks and getting those brilliant colors that you'll enjoy across the skies around the country on this Independence Day.
And speaking of colors in the sky, a rare phenomenon was visible over the skies of Oklahoma City late Sunday night. Meteorologist Jack Gerfer shows us the appearance of a red Sprite.
We were rolling our sky cam on top of the building, and we're capturing and looking to the north some of the storms that were looking off to the north coming our direction. And one thing that we're able to spot right there very, very quickly that you saw there was actually a red Sprite. So there's a very rare phenomenon that you can see. These happen actually in the mesosphere. So we're actually well above the stratosphere where all of our weather takes place. And so this is usually occurs when there is a positive lightning strike that goes from the cloud to the ground. But the only way you can really see these is first off if you catch it, but also if you've got good camera equipment as well to be able to see that, because these only last for about a millisecond or so. But it's just a really, really cool thing to see, and we were able to catch that from our storms that we had on Sunday night.
Dust from the Africa's Sahara Desert annually makes the trip across the Atlantic. It can significantly impact the formation and intensity of hurricanes. It turns the skies hazy and impacts air quality. Meteorologist Marion Caldwell has more.
I'm sure we've all heard the term Saharan dust thrown around, especially during tropical season. But what exactly is that, and how does it relate to the weather? Well, Saharan dust is actually a dry, powdery dust made of tiny particles of sand minerals that come from the Sahara Desert in Africa. Winds can lift this dust high into the air and carry it across long distance, sometimes across oceans to places like the United States. And it often makes the sky look hazy and can affect air quality, weather, and even sunsets, making them look a little bit more colorful. And when it comes to the tropics, Saharan dust can have a big impact on hurricane development, mostly by making it harder for storms to grow. Because when this dust blows off the Sahara Desert and travels over the Atlantic Ocean, it brings very dry air with it. So tropical storms need warm, moist air to get stronger, so the dry air from the dust can weaken it or even stop a storm from forming. The dust also travels with strong, high winds in the atmosphere, which can mess up the structure of a storm by blowing it apart. And on top of that, the dust can block some sunlight, which cools the ocean surface slightly. And since tropical storms feed off of those warm ocean waters, this cooling effect can also slow down their growth. So overall, Saharan dust acts like a natural brake on tropical storm development. So when Saharan dust is present, it works in our favor during hurricane season to keep tropical development to a minimum.
Many people who live near the Great Lakes will celebrate the 4th on the water, but in a popular place near Green Bay, an endangered bird is nesting. Eric Peterson has the details on the pleas for everyone to share the shore with the piping plover.
For the 3rd year in a row, piping plovers have found a home just north of the city on Longtail Point.
Longtail Point is a state-owned property open to the public. So we would love to get the word out to members of the Green Bay community that we have these rare and endangered birds nesting on Longtail Point.
Warning signs are up. People are asked to give the plovers space, keep dogs on leashes, and pick up anything they pack in.
Those really loud noises really disturb these birds.
We all like fireworks on the 4th, and that's really fun to do, but please do not do them if you see these plover signs and fencing in that area.
Hopes are high for these plovers.
And the timing is still good for that pair that reinitiated their nest. They reinitiated in mid-June, I believe June 11th. So still just enough time for them to complete their incubation on that nest and successfully hatch and hopefully fledge chicks.
As we go to break, a look at the oldest state house in the U.S., Annapolis, Maryland.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Look at all the sunshine we've got across the Midwest for the day today. A few pop-up showers and storms, but most of us staying dry for the day today. It's going to be hot. Temperatures in the upper 80s, 90s, and even a couple of triple digits there. Tomorrow, we got some rain starting to move in from the west, and that continues to push farther to the east as we go through Saturday with some thunderstorms there from Minnesota down into Kansas.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're waking up to a little bit of a steamy morning from New Orleans all the way down into Brownsville. Cooler, drier, but wet back up into Midland. In fact, over toward the west, we're looking at clouds and 70s out in El Paso. More rain for them. We'll see more rain out across the state of Texas today, into Oklahoma and Louisiana as well. Otherwise, going to be another steamy day. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. We are into early July, and the weather is pretty typical out west, including the fog coming through the Golden Gate in San Francisco with a high of just 64, and the sun over the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix at 100. Upper 80s out of Missoula. We're back into the 70s around Seattle and Portland. Monsoonal moisture again breaking out over the Four Corners by later this afternoon. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
When you're out and about during severe weather season, your car can provide protection, but not necessarily during a tornado. Meteorologist Nick Russo has more.
Nick Russo here. We know cars are a safe place to be during a thunderstorm because they will protect you from lightning. The lightning current will be directed around you by the metal cage of your car and safely into the ground. If a tornado warning is issued, however, that's a different story. Cars are not a safe place to be in a tornado. So if a tornado warning is issued, which means a tornado has been spotted or is likely to develop within minutes, you need to get out of your vehicle and into a building as soon as possible. If you're not near a building, if you're out in a rural spot and there's no safe shelter nearby, the next best thing you can do is stay in your car, keep the seatbelt on, and get down below the windows while protecting your head. The other option is to get into a ditch if you have a low-lying spot available, but that's not recommended as much these days because cars are a little bit safer than getting out of your vehicle and exposing yourself to the elements outdoors.
And we'd love to share your weather content on air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and even TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk is a special presentation of superstorms, our look at the 2025 hurricane season. I'm Mark Pena. Make it a great day and have a safe and wonderful 4th of July.